All right, we're going to reconvene and uh, the OSU extension and 4-H budget. And the first item is the election of a chair. So is there a nomination for chair?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Laura Huckabee for chair of the district.
Is there any other nominations?
I second that emotion.
All right.
Nomination.
That emotion.
Nomination.
By the way, make sure your light is on and you're speaking into the mic.
How are you?
All right. Laura has been nominated and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations. I just have to make note, I need to leave, and I'm going to, Commissioner Fisher will take over on the next item. I'm heading to Salem to resolve their budgetary issues.
You're gonna need a bigger gap.
Yeah.
A bigger car.
20-pound gavel.
Okay, and I understand that it's
silly.
been a long morning, and so we're going to make up some time. So do we have nominations for Secretary of the Extension District?
I nominate Jim Thatcher for Secretary of the District.
And do we have a second?
I second the motion.
And a vote, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it's been moved and seconded and voted in. We are good to go. So, moving on, Mr. Bondi, if you would please present the budget message for the extension. Mike is the OSU Regional Liaison for Oregon State University Extension Program in Clackamas County.
Thank you, Chair Laura. I want to first begin by introducing Angela Sandino. Angela is the new Regional Director for all extension programs in the Portland metropolitan area, which include Clackamas County, Washington County, Multnomah County. So this is that, for the county commissioners, this is the organizational reorganization of the Extension Service Administration in the state. And my position as regional administrator is now gone. And I'm still here working with Angela in transition. And we'll be working with you on the budget today. But I know other than maybe Martha, Angela hasn't had an opportunity to be introduced to the commissioners. So Angela, this is your county commissioners. And yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
All right, good. So we'll walk through the budget, and Angela's here to answer any questions, and I'll turn over the difficult ones to her. But in the interest of time, you've got several documents in front of you. This, of course, is our budget document. In there includes my budget message. And if you just want to pull that out, I know you've had an opportunity to review all this. I'll just cover a couple of the really key things before we go to slides. What we're presenting today is our fiscal year 2020 budget for Clackamas Extension 4-H Service District, and of course in accordance with Oregon budget law. For those that were around, the citizens of Clackamas County created the district back in November of 2008 by voter approval, and includes all incorporated and unincorporated jurisdictions in the county except Johnson City. The other thing I wanted to refer you to in your packet is our annual report, and I think everybody's pretty much seen that. Should be in there somewhere. Just another copy for you. That really provides the best kind of at least brief review of extension programs in the county. This is our report to the citizens, and we circulate that through all the weekly newspapers. About 60,000 copies went out the end of February, first part of March. So with that in mind, I wanted to just bring you to the last paragraph of the budget message, which starts with the district budget that's being presented today. It includes the imposition of a maximum permanent property tax rate approved for this year of $0.05 per thousand of assessed value. And that creates a projected revenue of $2,427,764 at the 95% collection rate. And that was, of course, provided by Clackamas County Assessor. You can also see in the next paragraph some of the detail of other sources of income, which is creating a fund balance for us in this projected budget of a little over $6.3 million. The distribution of funds to Oregon State University, which is basically what the district does, is collect property tax, which then reimburses the university for provision of services here in Clackamas County. The coming fiscal year is about $2.145 million. Anything left in our budget is in our capital fund, or what we've been setting aside for the last 10 years. By the way, this is our 10th district budget. So the county voters approved the district in 2008. Our first budget was actually FY10 the following June. And so this becomes our 10th budget. And we had a goal way back when we started putting money aside for potentially building a new building for the extension service. As we went forward in that process, our goal was to raise in our budget about $7 million. We hit that goal in this budget. You will see a carryover of $6.343 million, and that's because we've already made we paid expenses on the building design and all the preliminary work leading up to construction. So that's all included in the budget as well. And then speaking of the building, the other thing I would just highlight to you that we have a couple of copies for, that was just an article in the Oregon Business Journal this last Thursday. Did a really nice little job on describing the building, everything that we've got planned here in Clackamas County. Not only interviewed me, but interviewed our project architect, Mike Shea. So I would just say that, you know, as we go forward and have discussion, we probably want to have a work session at some point and talk further about the building and progress where we're at. Now, if you want to look at the slides real quickly, and do I have a clicker? There it is. Thank you very much. Let me run through what we have for you. OSU's extension's mission, vision, core values. You know, we really, as I would describe it, are the partner with Oregon State University, partners with the citizens of Clackamas County to bring the university and our science research base, our educational base to serve the local community and address problems, local problems that we can solve through informal education and community engagement. We see ourselves as community builders. We strengthen through our programs the local economy. We sustain, enhance natural resources, and promote healthy individuals, families, communities. If I was going to describe core values for us, it's learning by doing. Everybody learns in very different ways, but research shows that most people learn and retain knowledge best by actually doing something. Learning by doing, putting their hands on it. We teach life skills, and that's something that isn't taught in a lot of places anymore, but that's the core of what we do. We promote self-reliance, self-sufficiency through our programs and build people up, and we develop community leaders. Our programs are informal education. We do not do credit teaching. We do not matriculate degrees. Our programs are informal education available for both adults and for youth, and designed by the people of the county, for the people in the county, and available to everyone. That's the budget look. We basically expense all of our revenue, and anything that's in reserve has been dedicated for the last 10 budgets to our future building and then contingency and carryover. Of note on that bar chart is the yellow line. That is the amount of general fund support that comes out of your general fund budget. And since the district, that number is, of course, 0. And then that's the next slide is just a look at our full-time equivalents. All of our people, all of the employees of Clackamas Extension 4-H Service District that serve here in Clackamas County are OSU employees. So that's why the fund transferred to Oregon State University. And I have been for the last number of years providing leadership for both the Extension Office here in Clackamas County and also the Research Center, also in Clackamas County down at North Willamette Research Extension Center at Aurora. And you can see kind of the distribution of faculty and staff and how it's changed from FY19, what we have proposed for FY20, and what that increase decrease looks like. And you can see, even though the numbers are relatively stable, we're making some significant staffing changes for FY20, not the least of which is a brand new office manager, and she is in the room today too. I'd like to introduce you to Leah Sundquist. Leah is just now in her 3rd week with us, and she is replacing Roxy Appleby, who's been in the Extension Office providing leadership as office manager for 46 years. Wow. And she's finally going to get the opportunity to retire, we think. That's a significant change for an organization. You know how that is. You've lost some longtime employees and what that involves. We also are adding, although we don't have that person hired yet, a fiscal coordinator that's going to redistribute some of the functions of the office manager, especially anticipating now moving into a new building that's going to be quite a bit larger, have other resource needs and programmatic opportunities, and so we're going to shuffle staff. So that represents the 2 additional FTEs on the administrative side for the FY20 budget. The other thing you'll notice is on the support staff, you notice a significant increase there on support staff, at least for the North Willamette Research and Extension Center. And that's largely driven by grants and contracts. All of our people down at the Research Center that are support are soft money funded. And as we've added new faculty over the last several years, they've now built out programs that allow them to expand and grow their staff through grants and contracts. So that's the nature of what that looks like, and I can provide additional detail if you'd like. Paul, would you like to ask a question right now?
We'll go ahead and finish.
Okay, I've got this slide and one more. So here's just the quick summary. 2.47 million Extension District. That's our district tax revenue projected for FY 1920. You should note that Oregon State University provides funding for many of our faculty, and we access faculty that support Clackamas County that aren't necessarily housed here. That contribution from the state each year is about $4 million. That again supports the people that serve in Clackamas County, not only at Extension, but also at the Research Center. Grants and contracts generated by faculty and staff, 1.5 million a year, give or take. And then our volunteer in-kind service, which we consider to be essentially unpaid employees, is about 1.5 million. So you can see how the district dollars that are provided by Clackamas County leverage somewhere around $7 million of other funds. We serve each year about 100,000 people in our educational programs through informal education and outreach, everything from farm tours to formal classes. We delivered last year over 500 educational events, reaching 50,000 citizens just with education, formal education. We trained over 2,100 Extension volunteers who contributed 96,000 hours of service in the community. And I also want to thank Cheryl Kiffen. Cheryl has been with us for many years. She's the one that gathers all these data together so that you can enjoy them. Clackamas County is proud to say that our extension program here has the largest staffing footprint of any of the counties. In other words, we have more staff associated with our programs here than any county in the state of Oregon. We also happen to have the largest extension locally funded budget in the state, and I would say by far. And then the new educational building that we're going to be building will be like none other for extension in the entire United States. So we're proud of that. And then finally, emerging issues, growing population, obviously in the county, demand for services, opportunities for educational program, et cetera. The new building is really going to be the hallmark that helps us address those needs and provides opportunities that have never been available for our programs in the past. Private fundraising is underway to augment the money that we've set aside in our district. We hope part of that is going to create a whole new culture of philanthropy by citizens in the state to support extension program and grow programs into the future for generations to come. The new building is there. It's really, I threw in the slide from last year and crossed out what was irrelevant, the dates that we missed and what we're hoping to do. Groundbreaking now, if everything went well, would be later this year, maybe late summer, early fall. 12 to 15 months, we're going to call it for move-in after groundbreaking. We're still very much on track, and it's full steam ahead. So with that in mind, questions, and Commissioner Savas.
Yes, Mr. Bondi, good to see you again. And
thank you.
congratulations, Angela. Be
Thank
a
you.
pleasure to work with you. The following slide, after I put my card up, really got to a lot, the bulleted items about the key performance measures and results. And I just want to, knowing that we have the footprint here, a substantial footprint, and obviously our funding is bar none in the state because of the district's tax base. So we have all that presence and we have a lot of assets to show for it in online.
Yep.
Or soon to be online. With all that said, will we have a means of keeping these benchmarks and measures on top of something like this, demonstrate this every budget cycle, every year, in a way that will ensure that our dollars, now as part of a regional statewide effort, but they're still being demonstrated, realized here in Clackamas County? I mean, how do I want to make sure that program is there?
Yeah.
And that we have that to say, here's the investment we're making here, and here are all the things to show for it, and seeing something like this every year.
Well, I think that's a really appropriate question, especially when organizations go through change, whether it's people or organizational structure and how that kind of plays out going forward. But at the end of the day, I see that as our responsibility as administrators, me in the past and now Angela going forward, is to be able to report these kind of data or other data that would be more useful for you to help describe not only who we are, but what we do and the impact. What are the outcomes of the education? What is the impact on local community? So if I'm in charge, we'll obviously provide that. I believe Angela will be more than happy to do that as well. And I would just say that communication and the dialogue back and forth is something we ought to ensure that happens. We're not going to have the regional administrator across the lawn anymore. Angela's got a bigger area and a lot more fish to fry than I have to. But it will be incumbent on all of you and Angela as well to keep that flow of communication open.
Okay. Now, the last question, I think, and that is that I think somewhere in your presentation, prior to putting my card up, you had mentioned that a transfer of funds, not for the building, but that there will be a transfer of funds. So that means the admin aspect of the district funds will go into a statewide pot or a regional pot?
No, it's merely what we do is we reimburse. Our district reimburses the university for the cost of operating our programs,
Okay.
which is what we've done each of the budgets for the last 10, or including this one will be 10. So in other words, because all of our people are university employees, so their salary comes from the university, their benefit package compensation comes from the university, all the costs of doing program here in the county ultimately gets all billed through the university. Mileage for people, expenses for educational programming, operational costs that we pay for the building, everything from rent to electric, et cetera. All that gets billed ultimately, and the reimbursement is the direct transfer that I was talking about. We have typically done that at the end of the second quarter, the end of December, because our tax revenue doesn't come in until November, right? And so the district technically doesn't have new money until that point, even though we have carryover. So we bill the district to the university the end of December, and then we do another billing the end of the third quarter, end of March, and then we do monthly billings for all the program services, April, May, June, to close out the fiscal year.
And I say that, I mean, I appreciate the clarification. And I guess the unique thing here is that districts are somewhat autonomous, right? They have their own tax base, they do their own things in their own region, and they have geographic boundaries. And so this is like a hybrid, so to speak, in the sense that, you know, it's contract for services in a way, but how you do that in a way that demonstrates you still have the autonomy, or the tax dollars have that autonomy.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and that's something Angela and I have talked about, and she may want to comment on that. But where she has administrative responsibility for a broader area than Clackamas, yet the funds that are provided by the Clackamas district are dedicated for programming in Clackamas County. And so that's something that she will have the opportunity to work with going forward. So any observations, Angela, on that as you're kind of learning how all this works?
I appreciate your question, and just to be clear, like my salary is paid for completely by the university, not by any district dollars. I do have 3 counties, but I'm very aware that each county is individual. Each county has their own funds that remain in that county. And when we have any staff or faculty who might overlap, that we have to be very clear with the percentage of time that they're spent in different counties, that it aligns with where their salary is paid by. So I know Clackamas County is kind of like the shining example for extension, I think, across the state, because it is so it's so vibrant, thanks to Mike and I think all of the faculty and staff in this area, the citizens, the involvement, and to keep that going is something that is really important to me. I also have Washington County. They don't have a service district. They're funded completely by the county. And they're very clear, too, that they want their county dollars to remain in Washington County. And then I have Multnomah County, and they are not supported by either a service district or by the county currently. And so I have to be very careful to not supplant and use the funds for Multnomah County. So I appreciate that. And my commitment is to keep Clackamas County strong and independent with the money that is raised by taxpayers.
Yeah, thank you.
Martha, you had your card up next.
Hi, it's nice to see both of you again. Colleagues, I did have an opportunity to meet with Mike and Angela a little earlier, because extension has always been one of my things. And I remember, Mike, when I first came on board in 2003, this was just a, kind of a very lofty idea we had to have a building. We originally started working with Clackamas Community College. We still partner with them, but the building really was something that was envisioned a long time ago. And in 2008, 2 momentous things happened. One was the 2008 passage of your levy, which we all worked very hard, and the library levy. So it was kind of fortunate to be here. And now I'm back again, so here you go. And so pleased that we're going to have a building here on campus. We really, really pushed that to make that happen. So I have two requests I'd like to make that have to do with your mission of cooperation and working with partnerships. One of the things we had talked about, because of the proximity of the Justice Center and you having kitchens available, that there might be some opportunities to continue to work with those folks who are maybe struggling because of domestic violence and other issues, but also to provide opportunities for their children and for them to actually even get some maybe additional nutrition kinds of opportunities and work with extension that way. And the other thing, obviously, is the pollination piece. And I recently went down to OSU and visited with Chris Harker, who is the OSU head of the museum. I also just met recently with one of your entomologists at NREC, and I can't remember his name. He wasn't one of the bee guys, but he was. We had a good
Wasn't Nick
conversation.
Wyman or?
I think it was him. Yeah, I do. I have his card somewhere. I'm sorry I don't have it in front of me. But this morning, when our Parks District was here, I asked them to partner with you folks. I asked them to really take a look at this and really look at how we do our plantings in our parks and how we can go ahead and actually have a larger pollination initiative in this county. And they seem pretty receptive to that. So I've been kind of setting that table a little bit and am hopeful that we can move forward with something. And I see our facilities folks are here too. We'd sure like to get something moving on this campus. I don't see it as a high dollar amount opportunity at all. I think it's just a matter of coordinating with you with the research that OSU is already doing with the fine entomology staff they have to look at what those plantings could be and where they could go and how we can make this a big contribution for our county and our sustainability initiative. And I think Ken's probably going to talk about cross-laminated timber in the building.
No.
No.
I was gonna say, and I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay,
Right.
Mr.
Sorry.
Humbertson, you had your card up next.
Thank you for building it out across laminated timber. I'll keep that short and sweet. I just wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your week, 2 weeks ago, to answer my budget questions and a constituent's budget questions. I appreciated that very much. And I would encourage you to have that 4-H discussion with the Fair Board as soon as possible. And I will leave it at that. Thank you.
And I can't read your name tag.
Sonia Fisher.
Sonia.
I was looking through the, this nice little publication here and reading about the program with the high school, what, UTOS, and I'm just really fascinated by that, and just wondering if you could say a few words about it, and what other else types of coordination you're doing with our schools.
Now, is that the one, the future natural resource leader?
It is, there's a whole little article on it.
Right. We have several outreach things we do with high school kids, but the article that I think you're referring to in the,
UTOS program launches in Clackamas County
right,
on page.
what page are we on? 17?
It's this one.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, 14.
Okay,
There we go.
the Juntos program. Well, yeah, there's several programs going on. Juntos is the one that's dedicated or focused on the Hispanic or Latinx community, and really is focused in two areas. One is providing STEM education opportunities, and the other one is in kind of more agriculture, because so many of the kids come from an agricultural background through their parents. And so those programs are new within the last 2 to 3 years. We were first funding it with contract, and then this past year we were able to bring someone on permanently full-time that really focuses just their program and their outreach in that community. The other thing that we do with high school kids that I think is really significant in the county too is our Future Natural Resource Program, which is building up the next generation of natural resource leaders. That happens out at the demonstration forest at Hopkins. So each of those programs are really about engaging youth in science-based kind of education and preparing the next generation of leaders.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Rob?
Thank you. I just wanted to comment when you opened the door about pollinators. Okay, I've been in the program for 11 years, and I've learned to love insects. I don't know why, but I do. I just want to say that, well, we know the population is here and it's coming, so it's impacting us. As you all well know, we've had a real good success from volunteers, not only in the Master Gardener program, but also in the forestry department, in the food safety program, to new people who are interested in preserving or having some sort of a garden or, you know, some semblance of environment in their living situation. And one of the things that I've seen through staff, the forestry department and the tree farmers, is they're showing them and educating them how to use proper use of chemicals, when to do it, when not to do it, and how to do it so that you don't impact the pollinators. And I know that it sounds kind of, some people think it's silly, but the reality is, without those pollinators, we don't have a food source. Okay, so we do have to spend a lot of time protecting them. And the leadership through Mike and now Angelia and others in the program have been dynamic. And then also the many intern master gardeners and also those in the 4-H are very much aware of it and definitely want to participate and educate. So I think that's an ongoing challenge. Personally, I think we're up for it.
I think we are.
I think we're going to get there. Thank you.
Mr. Humbertson.
I just wanted to point out in the magazine that the new Forestry Outreach Center planned for Hopkins is going to be built out of cross-laminated timber and glulam.
And I might say it's not just cross-laminated timber, although that is one of the key features. It's what we now call advanced wood technology, and that includes, well, we call it mass timber. So it's not only locally cross-laminated timber, which will be in both buildings. It's also mass plywood, which is a brand new product only produced one place in the entire United States. It's an innovation at Freris Lumber down in Mill City. So those are kind of going to be key features in both those buildings. In fact, as soon as we get done here today, I'm going down to meet with people at Weyerhaeuser down in Springfield to see how they'd like to be involved in this on both of these projects. That's part of our fundraising opportunity for them.
It's funny you phrase it that way, because the long-term view I have is that at some point, price point-wise, instead of private timber being sold overseas, we could get it sold here in Oregon and in the United States in general, and send more product overseas that's already manufactured
So,
rather than raw products.
With that in mind, as you well know, Commissioner, we need manufacturing capability and support. We certainly have the natural resource here, and we have the people that are knowledgeable. And so I think what we're able to do with both these building projects is create a really nice showcase opportunity, not only for the industry and what the future of forest products looks like, but also to be a leader in this region, since this is the hotbed for advanced wood technology in the entire United States.
We should be the showcase in Clackamas County as far as.
You will be, Clackamas County on your
Got it
campus,
started.
coming to a building soon, we hope.
With a pollinator garden, I hope, as in the wetlands.
Building.
Be there.
And a wetlands restoration project.
So, Mike and Angela, are you wound up?
We are done.
So
If
I
you're
wanna-
done, we're done.
Awesome. I want to open for any public testimony. Anybody? So since we have, I'm going to do not even 2 minutes. I agree with Rob on the pollinator. And Martha, I had the opportunity to do some driving around to some of the low-income housing in the area, and I was absolutely struck by nothing but deciduous trees, non-food producing, and lawn was all I saw.
Yeah.
And I
Speed
thought,
change.
that's not going to cut it. So there, I've said my 2 cents worth. So let's, nobody wants to talk, so we can start winding this up. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. So is there a motion to approve the budget as it's been presented?
Yes, I move that the committee approve the 2019-2020 budget for the Clackamas County Extension and 4-H Service District as presented and impose the maximum permanent tax rate within the district boundaries for the amount of $0.05 or 5 cents per $1,000 of assessed value.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the extension and 4-H service district budget for fiscal year 2019-20 be approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Score. Okay, the ayes have it. The motion is approved. You know, Mike has worked his head off for years, and Clackamas County has many thanks to give you that aren't even adequate. There aren't enough words. The leadership you've given. So, if there's any other business,
Thank you, Laura.
we're done.